So this is going to be a reading about polyester clothing, okay? To see just how much it irritates you or how bad it is, right? And based on what comes out, we'll go from there. I don't want to talk ahead, I just want to see. So let's see, how bad is polyester clothing for humans? All right, so right away we have the Six of Cups coming out, the Judgment card, the Ten of Swords, the Wheel, the Justice, and the Devil card. Okay, so shockingly enough, I'm getting more mages than I thought. I'm barely even getting minors, because there were some specific cards that I'm looking for. So, and I was gonna try not to pull so many cards, but since we got more majors than anything, I just want to see like how this is gonna go. But of course, we already know that polyester is not good material that we're supposed to be wearing, and I do like how at least it started out showing that, in the past, things used to be better, different, things like that, more better clothing and things like that. But things just, changed over the years and decades and everything. And, the clothing is just not, what it needs to be. But let's just see. We have the Death card. Wow. So we have more mages coming out. Ten of Cups. So at least because okay, what I'm looking for specifically is how it's affecting us, which means I'm looking for minors. I'm not getting the minors that I was looking for, which is actually a good thing, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. Queen of Pentacles, Knight of Wands, Seven of Swords, and the Knight of Cups. And I'm definitely not saying like, oh, nothing's wrong with polyester. Like it's not a healthy type of clothing to wear, but it may not be as dramatic as it seems when it's brought up as a topic. Let's just say that. So what I was looking for directly before I even clarify this spread, what I was looking for directly was wands. Wands is because wands to me is close to being Martian energy. It's what's active. It's what's actively happening on a physical level. And I was looking for, cards like 8, 9, and 10 of wands, because that will show that it's very irritating, to the skin, or, it's just very irritating. However, it's, irritating the person wearing it. But I didn't get anything but the Knight of Wands, and it's connected to the Queen of Pentacles, right? So at least I didn't get any wands showing any active and major irritation, but it's still not a healthy version of clothes, though. I mean, a healthy, type of clothing to wear, though. But at least it's not like directly and actively irritating, people like it sounds when it shows up in conversations. So let's see, what is the Six of Cups? All right, so we have the Knight of Swords, the Six of Pentacles clarifying judgment. And of course, things change due to money, or, just the whole expense of the type of clothing. So, of course, cheaper clothing possibly. Three of Swords with the Ten of Swords, Wheel of Fortune with the Temperance card. A lot of majors coming out. So this is just really showing that it's just that type of time. Like, it's that type of era that society just naturally moves to, an era where, things is just changing, things is different, and it's about, what can be, I guess, greatly tolerated, especially if it is about money. But we have the Page of Wands with the Justice card. We have the Chariot with the Devil card. We have the Lovers with the Death card. Still a lot of majors coming out. Ten of Cups with the Page of Pentacles. So it's about what's cost effective. But again, like I said, we have the Queen of Wands and the Nine of Wands. Okay. So we're getting the Nine of Wands, but it's clarifying the Queen of Wands. And we have the Queen of Wands with the Knight of Wands. Knight of Swords, Ten of Wands. And the Magician, Knight of Cups. So even though we finally do got the wands that I mentioned, you know, it's with different cards. So I'm not really getting like it's still, you know, that bad or that extreme. But we do have the Seven of Swords that was clarified with the Ten of Wands. So I'm not really getting like, oh, this is going to affect people in a certain way, or in the long run it's gonna. I'm not really getting that it's actively affecting people, which I'm kind of glad. But I do feel like if anybody's gonna feel it first, it will be women, because we got the Queen of Pentacles with the Nine of Wands. But it's actually not like, it's not likely to even happen quick or in an obvious way though. But if anybody's gonna feel it or be affected or whatever the case may be, it will be women. But I'm not getting from this spread that it's actively like, you know, greatly affecting people as they wear it. Like, you know, if I got a lot of wands, then I would say okay, it looks like it's actively, you know, irritating and, you know, affecting the body. But I'm not really getting a lot of the cards, because when you're doing a tarot reading and it's anything regarding like how something is affecting you health wise, you're looking for wands and pentacles. That shows the physical body. So I'm not really getting like too much of, you know, wands and pentacles. I got a few, but they're scattered with other cards and stuff like that. And we got a lot of majors. So this is showing that it was just, you know, it's just kind of a universal time where, you know, that type of clothing just was rolled out. And maybe it was because, you know, times was changing as far as what, you know, what people wanted to use or wear as clothes, and the type of things you can do with the clothes as well. Like, I just feel like a lot of different aspects of the whole thing is included, basically. Like, it's a lot of different moving components, basically. It's no one thing, but, you know, a whole era just changed or ended. Maybe it was things with, like, you know, the 100% cotton, maybe with certain limitations or things you just couldn't do with that type of clothing, or, you know. But I'm not really getting like, okay, polyester is like literally killing you. Like, no, I'm not really saying that in this reading, which is actually a good thing. And technically it's clearly it must be true, because we're still here, right? We're still getting these clothes. We're not actively breaking out and stuff like that from the clothes we wear. And also remember, when you're buying new clothes, they are new when it comes to the whole manufacturer and things like that, but the clothes aren't clean, so wash them first. All right, but let's just see why cotton is no longer sold, you know, out in the stores and stuff. So let's see, why aren't cotton clothing being sold in stores, in everyday stores? Why isn't cotton clothing, genuine cotton clothing, being sold in stores like they should be? And like I said, if anybody was going to be affected, it would be women. But I'm still not getting like it's any major effect to where as though something is completely stopped or limited in the women. It's connected to like minor energy. So it's like, but we have the Hierophant. We have the Eight of Cups. We have the Sun card. Yeah, like I said, it must have been certain limitations with cotton clothing. It's certain things that you just probably couldn't do with cotton clothing that you could maybe do with the material clothing that they're selling every day at these stores now. So you have the Hierophant and you have the Eight of Cups and Sun. So it's kind of like leaving something that's like, you know, it's something about maybe the carbon. It's something about the cotton fabric that has certain limitations. especially since you know a lot of people do a lot of stuff with clothes where they like switch it up and they could make certain things out of, you know, all types of material and things like that. It must be some type of limit with the cotton material that made them kind of move towards, you know, the other material. But let's see, we have the Queen of Swords. And of course, like, it could have been a woman. It could have been an actual, the other reading could have also been pointing to a woman being in charge of this whole movement being put in place as well. All right, but you have the Ten of Swords, the Ten of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, and the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, and it's based on what's cost effective, but also I feel like it's still something about certain limits on cotton clothing. Like, and also look how, you know, when you hear cotton clothing, you do think about the old days. And when you look at the Hierophant, you kind of feel slightly, you know, a traditional energy as well. But I still feel like maybe it was some type of limit to the material, especially with the Eight of Cups. Like, it's just probably something you couldn't do with cotton material. You know, you just had to stay. It's like things had to stay a certain way with that type of material or something like that, or it was just some type of limit to what, you know, you could really do with it as far as style goes. But I also feel like, you know, it's cost effective too with the other material. And a woman or a feminine figure was in charge of this being put in place from the looks of it. What is the Hierophant? Alright, so we have the Fool card. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking at the Hierophant and the Sun as being the actual materials, right? And for the Fool to be what's clarifying the Hierophant, it must have been something about that material that was too easy to break or something like that, or it just wasn't strong enough. Because when you see the Fool, that's clearly something that's like slippery, risky, or whatever the case may be. So if we're talking about material, then, you know, maybe it was easy to break or something like that. Something about the cotton material was just too quick to like mess up. And then, you know, it was just expensive in some type of way, but it was easy to mess up or something like that. The material was just too like loose or easy to mess up. Queen of Pentacles with the Eight of Cups. It could have been more. It could have been women in general that like kind of put this whole movement together. Like, it probably was a movement that women collectively, you know, decided against because it was something about the material. Either it was too loose or it was too easy to break or something like that. So the Sun card is clarified with the World. Yeah, you see, like, you know, maybe the other material is just a better fit, or it just fits better, but in a, you know, a few different ways. And of course, cost is one of them. But I feel like initially it might not have been about the cost, but coincidentally, the cost is effective for what people, you know, is pushing away from and pushing towards when it comes to the polyester. Okay, King of Wands clarifying the Queen of Swords. Two of Cups clarifying the Ten of Swords. Ten of Pentacles clarifying the Seven of Cups. Yeah, it's like women could have pushed for this. You know, if something was like loose fitting, or if it was like quick to mess up, break, or get holes and stuff, women could have been feeling like they were spending too much money to like maintain this or something like that, or it was too expensive. to just keep up with it. You have the Empress with the Page of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles with the Seven of Pentacles. Yes, definitely like a huge or at least a notable expense drop from going from, you know, cotton to polyester. But I definitely feel like women, so because when I said, if when I did the other part of reading and I said if anybody's going to feel it, it will be women first. I feel like now the reading is just saying that the women is the people that opted for this whole transition. It was something about the material that was just loose or something like that, or just wasn't secure enough. The Fool energy is not secure. So let's also clarify the Fool again to see exactly what that means, to see if it's about something being loose or easy to break or something like that. If it's swords, easy to break. If it's loose, another cup card besides the Eight of Cups that came out after the Hierophant. So let's see, what is the Fool card? Five of Cups flopped out, but let's just see. I like to do clean pulls. I don't like to do flop out. Of course, if I'm shuffling, cards is going to flip, but I like to do clean pulls. I want to know that my reading is genuine. All right, so let's see. What is the Fool? All right, Six of Swords. Okay, yeah, it's like falling off, slipping off. It was something about the cotton material that was just a little too slippery. And it could have got too annoying for the women. I feel like for a long time, you know, they probably, you know, dealt with it. But if this is the material of clothing, they're going from one material to the next. This means that it was something about the cotton material that even though it could have been maybe healthier or it just was more conservative looking or something like that, there was something about the material that was just a little too loose or easy to break. With the Six of Swords, this is not like a breaking. It's more so like sliding off, slipping and stuff like that. All right. But the thing is, with both materials, I'm not getting like possible like itching or nothing like that, which is good and stuff like that. So that's definitely great. But I'm definitely getting like they transition because they you know, women maybe have been opting for better fitting clothes or something like that. It was just something that the cotton was doing that, you know, they was just tired of. It was like it was just a limit to the cotton. The way the cotton material worked, it was just a limitation, and the women probably got tired of it and created a whole movement to do something about it. And that's where polyester came from. What is the World? Ten of Cups. So it's like that seems to be, you know, better energetically. You know, the women at first were disappointed about, you know, how the cotton was slipping and sliding and all this stuff. So it was something about women opting for a movement for better material clothing. Why? Cotton was slipping and sliding off of them, probably was causing them to not feel as comfortable, you know, dealing with that. And so this polyester with the Sun, World, and Ten of Cups, I mean, it just seemed like a better option for the people. It was something that, you know, they were more pleased to deal with. It seemed to fulfill the needs of this movement. And that's why I'm like, okay, yeah, women movement, the world, that's a movement basically. All right. So wow. So I'm actually glad I did this reading, you know, and what made me do this reading was a post I saw. It was a post I saw where somebody was, you know, seeking, I think they might have been like a reader too, but they were seeking, you know, they were basically just voicing, oh no, she's an astrologer, she's a really good astrologer. She was voicing how she was looking for, 100% cotton and could barely find it. So I'm like, that's actually a good reading to do, and I'm glad I did it. But yeah, it seemed like women are the reason why, and I'm not saying like it couldn't have been no other material, because I mean, I don't, I'm not a seamstress, I don't know how that stuff works, but it just seems like the polyester clothing is what better suits the needs of what people were initially complaining about with the cotton. All right, so that's the reading. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day and weekend.